Hello and welcome to Unleashed. I'm your host, Will Bachman. If you visit umbrex.com/unleashed, you can see the full transcript of this episode. You can also sign up for the newsletter where I'll send you each week the show notes as well as some bonus material. Today, I'm excited to have another episode about one of the latest developments in artificial intelligence. I'm here with Nikola Lazarov, who is the founder of Eilla, which is spelled EILLA, and it's .ai on the web. It's a tool that provides AI workers for private market intelligence. He'll explain what that means. Nikola, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Hey, how are you?
So, Nikola, and I think you're joining me today from Bulgaria. Is that right?
No, I'm actually based in London.
Oh, you're based in London now.
The whole
Okay,
company.
but you are
Yeah. Yes.
Bulgarian team. All right, but in London. So, Nikola, why don't you first just give me a short, background of yourself and how you came to found the company?
So a bit about me. So first of all, I'm an AI engineer. A couple of years ago, I did my master's in Cambridge in AI. I was focused on generative AI. My dissertation was building dialogue systems based on large language models. Back then, it wasn't as trendy as it is now. My experience brought me to a hedge fund, a London-based hedge fund called Marble Bar Asset Management, where I worked as a quant. So basically, I was building trading strategies with large language models. And yeah, I mean, what we were doing in the hedge fund for public companies was super interesting, but I quickly realized the value for private companies as well, where you have a lot less data and it's very unstructured. And if you structure it with AI, I mean, there's a lot of value. So yeah, that's when we decided to start Eilla almost 3 years ago. In the first 1 year, we were bootstrapped, but then we raised our small seed round. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, cool. Well, why don't you tell me what Eilla does? And again, listeners, if you want to check out their website, it's EILLA.ai. Okay, so what does the tool do?
Yeah, so what is actually private market intelligence? I mean, it can be everything, but our targets, customers or investors and investment bankers, we decided to replicate literally what analysts and associates in VC and PE are doing. So to give you an example, let's say you're researching a startup and you want to find all of the competitors. First of all, you need to figure out what the company is doing. What is the USP? What is differentiating this company than the rest? What is the target market? So once you figure this out, you go and then find similar companies in these data providers like CrunchBase, Zero and PitchBook, and so on. You want to figure out some financials for the competitors. You want to see who is the biggest threat. So first of all, you have a lot of data aggregation. You need to go to a lot of data providers that are also paid. You want to go to the website of the company and the competitors, the LinkedIns of the company and the competitors. And there's a lot of back and forth, right? There's a lot of things happening that you need to do as a human being. And then after that, you need to analyze who is actually a good competitor, who is actually a competitor or not. You need to do this manually and it takes a lot of time. And this is what we do. We're building workers like AI agents. They're doing this automatically. They're gathering all of the data from the different data providers. We have data redistribution agreements, so we're paying for this data, but also we're doing scraping on our own, and we're gathering all of the data, and then we're finding all of these competitors, we're comparing them and showing it to you, basically. And this is one solution we have, but another solution that's very interesting, I can tell you another, I think it's one of our very exciting solutions is finding comparable transactions and doing valuation reports. So basically, if you want to figure out what is the valuation of this company, one way to do it is find a lot of transactions that happened, a lot of acquired private companies, right? Or public comparables, right? You want to find 100, 200 similar companies and to see what were their multiples, what were their revenues, what were their valuations, basically what was the multiple, so that you can figure out what is the valuation of your company. So first of all, you need to find similar companies to your company. This is one thing that we do. Then we find all of the financials because we have them. We find what are the average multiples. And then we tell you what is driving these valuations. We're telling you what are the valuation ranges, we're telling you the multiples, and so on. So we're doing all this automatically, basically. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, amazing. I'd like you to share your screen with me, Nikola.
Yeah, of course.
For listeners who are listening on the audio, I'll give a little bit of a play-by-play of what I'm seeing as we see the screen.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm seeing the screen. It says Payhawk.
Yeah.
This is
Yes. This is the first Bulgarian unicorn. I'm Bulgarian, and I thought it would be interesting to show you, a company that we're very proud in Bulgaria. So it's a spend management company. Basically, this is an example. We have companies from companies that haven't raised anything to public, like massive companies.
All right.
Well, I'm showing you an example here.
Yeah.
How you find any companies from our search bar, basically. You write the name of the company and it will lead you to the company profile. So this is what happens.
All right. Let me just tell listeners here what I'm seeing on the screen. So we have a company pulled up and there are several tabs. The tabs are company profile, competitor research, buyer selection, investment highlights, key questions, risks and mitigants, and a one-pager. Okay, so those are the different pages we could see. We're on the company profile page, and on this page, we have a whole nice consolidated set of information about this company. We have its headquarters location, which is London. We have their number of employees, 250 to 500, year founded, company status is private, total raised, it has that, 239 million, it has the last transaction. And then if we keep scrolling up.
Well, just one thing, if you're going to be summarizing everything, it will be a lot of information. But the biggest, I would say, yeah.
I'm not going to read everything, but let's just go back to the top there. The general part. So then we have like a company description, we have the industry, and we have the problem solved, a very short summary of what this company does. And then it talks about key team members, and it goes through funding, it goes through product, clients, business model, digital intelligence news. So it's like a sort of a consolidated hub of information. And I don't have subscriptions, but I think that this is kind of similar to what you might see on, say, CrunchBase or one of these other tools.
Exactly. So this page here, if you see, the only difference is that because we're not a data provider, because we're a data aggregator, I want to show you with a company. Let me enrich that, another company. But the thing here is that we're aggregating data from a lot of different places. We're integrating CapIQ, for example, and there would be a financial section as well. But we are showing you pretty much what you would expect in CrunchBase. So this is if you want to have the information on the company in one place, from LinkedIn, from their website, from CrunchBase, from CapIQ, from everywhere, you will have aggregated information. And also, we are not claiming to be the next CrunchBase. We are sourcing CrunchBase or LinkedIn. So this is one. Yeah. So this is one of the value. However,
I like what you were able to do there is every piece of data here, it has a little sort of footnote, and you can hover over it and it will tell you what the source of the information was.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. And also we have information on the traffic of the website of the company, for example. Where is the traffic coming from? Is it from France, Germany? How much is increasing? We have information on how much the followers are increasing and so on. So, for example, website traffic information, this you can gather from different data providers. But for example, this is one data provider that we've also aggregated. We have information from G2, from Trustpilot, and so on. So imagine this is a page similar to CrunchBase, but not only with CrunchBase information, but aggregated from different data providers.
Okay, so you're pulling in data from a bunch of different places, like the traffic to the website.
It's SimilarWeb. It's one way to get this information is SimilarWeb, and there are different ways to get it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So this saves someone a bunch of time because you're aggregating and pulling in from different sources.
Yeah. But this is not what differentiates us, because I guess everyone can, in a way, even manually, but you can aggregate the data. But what I truly believe differentiates us is what happens on top of this aggregated data. And let me show you one of our use cases here, which is competitor research. So let me show you here. We're showing a table of the biggest competitors of Payhawk. So for example, Spendesk, Pleo, Airbase. I mean, we go through live. By the way, I've preloaded this for the sake of time here, but It takes around 10 to 15 seconds to go through 7 million companies and to find the closest competitors to PayHawk. So how do we find the closest competitors? First of all, we have our own proprietary database of in-depth product information. So basically, we scrape more than 7 million companies, the websites, and we are figuring out what are the closest to PayHawk products, what are the biggest threats to PayHawk, are you targeting the same market, and so on. So we're gathering a lot of information here, and we're ranking them based on this information, but on top of funding, headcount, and so on. As a human would do it, pretty much. And we are using AI here to figure out of these companies, how many of them are competitors and how many of them are similar companies. And this is up to our users to decide which they want to pick here, because you can select. I've selected here, let's say 10 companies. And then if you want to dive deeper into these companies, you can click here our vertical view, which will make it into a comparison table.
Let me just describe what I'm seeing here. Just go back to the previous view, the horizontal view. So I can describe for listeners. So we have just a nice table where the columns are company name, type, which could be either competitor or similar company. You have the description, you have of the company, you have the product description, the headquarter location, the team, the year it was founded, and then it looks like you can go over and find out their last round of funding, how much they raised, the total raised so far, status, if it's private or public, the ownership status, detailed offering and features, the problem that they solve, their positioning, their tech specs, unique selling proposition, whether it's B2B or B2C, and their target market. So you have all this information laid out, which would have taken, my day as a business analyst, taken, like weeks, right, to pull all this together.
Exactly.
And you can, I imagine, select, and the company name is very nice. You have like the little logo and the company name. And then you can switch to vertical view. Why don't you do that? Where now you can see for a selected set of companies, it's just sort of transposed, where it's a little bit easier to scroll down and see one company compared to another. You can sort of compare them side by side. Same information that we talked about before, but you can see them all side by side.
An additional thing that's here that's to add is, for example, do you see these green dots here? For example, on the product description of Airbase, when you click here, it tells you that we think that these are highly similar. It compares them, and it tells you the sources that we found this information from.
Oh, very interesting. So for a particular product, you can click on it, and then I'm getting this side-by-side view description of the product of the company that we're looking at, the target, and then its competitor. Okay, detailed comparison.
Exactly.
That's pretty nice.
Exactly.
All right.
And also, I mean, also you see the growth model. Is it sales led? Is it self-serve? What is the target size of the companies, and so on? So this information, as you rightly said, I mean, this would have taken you a lot of time to aggregate. But keep in mind that, first of all, you need to figure out who the competitors are. And in the spend management sector, there's a lot of companies. And if you're new to this industry, it would have taken you hours. This takes seconds. What you're seeing right now is taking seconds. So this is one of the things that's, I think, differentiate us. And it's not like in the data providers that you give a set of competitors that are not really competitors. They're similar companies, but are not really competitors. Here you have a list of actual competitors.
Right.
So this is a big differentiation, because we're not just providing data. We're replicating the workflow of doing competitor research. Yes. And if you click here, the button generate insights, what it will do, because I've already loaded this, it will show you some insights. So for example, this is SWOT analysis on the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats on PayHawk versus the competitors. And on top of that, there's some information on what really differentiates PayHawk and its clients. For example, what is the difference? For example, Airbase positions itself as an all-in-one spend management platform. It's telling you different points about the different competitors that the model believes are differentiating PayHawk and the competitors here. Everything here is sourced, because we're using multiple different sources. We're doing this live. So we're here finding information on all of the competitors as well.
Yeah. So just why don't you scroll up to the top of that section there? So there's insights that popped up, listeners. So there's there's a SWOT analysis tab, and there's a products and services tab. And the products and services, there's a chunk on product differentiation and market positioning, and a bunch of bullet points around PayHawk versus its competitors there. Each one has a footnote where you can click to see the sources, and then scroll down a little bit. It has product differentiation, and then it has the technical capabilities and user experience, and then it has the breadth of functional offerings, and below that, a summary. So just what you'd be wanting to doing if you're doing the basic competitive overview, understanding strengths and weaknesses of this company. And this is all kind of sourced. So
exactly.
And I imagine that you could, I see a little download button. I imagine
yes, you can download this.
You can download this into like an Excel file or something, or a CSV.
Exactly. And one thing that is coming soon as well is our CapIQ financials. So all of the important things that you're looking for, the revenue, EBITDA, valuation, everything that you can think of, we're adding as well as a separate section here, financials.
All right. Well, so that we've gone through 2 tabs. Show me some of the other tabs. The buyer selection. What's that?
Buyer selection is actually a very interesting one. What is this? Is actually we are looking for potential buyers for PayHawk. So let's say that you want to sell a company. What we've done here is we found all of the similar companies to PayHawk, and we found all of the similar, let's say, acquisitions and so on. And we've taken all of the most active buyers, and we're showing them to you, but active buyers in the same space. And we split them into potential strategic buyers, like corporations that can buy PayHawk, also competitors that can buy PayHawk, but also financial buyers. For example, this is one company here that we have 13 similar transactions. Actually, will be redesigned soon to be even easier to digest because there's a lot of information. But here we're showing you all of the transactions that happened, and we're telling you why we believe these are kind of similar. For example, Visma acquires Inyet, and Inyet is a platform that automates control to ensure secure payments and trustworthy suppliers for businesses. In a way, you can see how PayHawk, spend management platform, and Inyet can be somewhat related, right? So they're not highly similar, they're just similar, but still it's in the same space. That's why we're showing it to you. Yeah. But there's so many transactions that we've found here, and this would have taken you hours to go through all the similar companies in the world that especially have been acquired to figure out if these are similar or not. And based on that, to find similar buyers that are buying them. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, we're looking for, does it make sense for this buyer to be buying such companies? Is there any potential synergies here? And also, we're assessing the financial capabilities of this company to buy a company like PayHawk. At the end of the day, PayHawk is a unicorn company, right? So not every company, we cannot buy PayHawk, for example, right? Yeah. So on top of the similar deals, there's additional level of logic for us to figure out if you can buy these companies.
I'm curious. Click on the financial buyers. I'm curious about that tab. So this is looking at again, potential buyers of this target company that we're doing the search on. So
yes. These are not all of them. These are the ones that we believe are the closest. And this is the ones that we found. So we don't want to overflood. Like we can show you a lot more, but the goal here is to show you quality.
Okay, got it. So that's the buyer selection. Show us the other tabs. This is the investment highlights tab.
So investment highlights is more for investors and what are the reasons to invest in PayHawk. And by the way, keep in mind that this profile that you see here, everything here is with publicly available information, but you can enrich this with pitch deck of the company, additional internal information, which will make these investment highlights even more in depth. But right now, this is only for publicly available information. This is showing why you should invest in this company and what is the reasoning behind it. So for example, and some of them, as I said, because it's publicly available information, can be generic, but a lot of them are, I think, very niche as well. So one of them is real-time spend control and automation. And you can look for them by yourself. One thing that I wanted to mention, by the way, is if you see here in red, we're sourcing information. What this is we find contradictions. So not only that we source information, But if we find different sources that contradict with each other, we'd say, actually, these two sources contradict with each other, so that we point to the contradiction from the other use cases.
I like that.
Sorry, the other sources. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the key questions tab on the top.
Yep,
of the page.
this is key questions to ask for in a meeting. So, for example, you're giving, I guess, Payhawk somewhere mentioned that they have a RESTful API. And the question here is, what are the capabilities of a RESTful API and how can it be used for custom integrations? A lot of companies are claiming that they have APIs. And you as an investor, like this is an important point, for example, for you. This is a question that we figure out that it might be interesting. And this is an example of a question that we show to investors to us. Or for example, how do your dedicated icons in multiple currencies like facilitate financial, like questions that might be interesting to us during an investment call, for example.
Okay, great. Let's go on to the risks and mitigants tab.
Yeah, this is risks that we identified and the mitigations, and this is reasoning underneath that.
Okay, and the one pager?
And one pager is this is something that you can have in view as PDF. If you click it, you can download it, and this is a one pager. This information is basically all of the information you saw in the company profile, but you can easily download, and it has information on the funding, on the team, the headcount, and so on, the product and the services, what is the USP, what is the detailed offering, and so on. So instead of you having to create a one pager, we're creating it for you in seconds.
All right, cool. So let's just talk now about a little bit about who are your customers right now and what's the pricing schedule?
Yeah, of course. So our goal was to replicate entirely the whole workflow of investors and investment bankers. We know that we know that investors and investment bankers aggregate a lot of data from different data providers. We also know that they have a lot of data in their CRMs. We know that they have a lot of data in their emails, a lot of data in their nodes. So first, our goal was to aggregate all this data. Once you have this layer of data, to have our AI agents that are basically doing complex workflows, breaking down complex workflows into simpler steps that they can handle. So that and these complex workflows are basically the workflows of the investors and the investment bankers. We're breaking them down into simpler steps so that our agents can do. And this is pretty much what we did. So we started replicating the workflows of investment and investment bankers one by one. But what we figured out recently is that actually C-executives and business consultants or management consultants, like a lot of different groups actually require this type of intelligence, not only investors and investment bankers. So now we're actually experimenting with other groups as well, because we see a lot of interest outside of even investment firms.
Yeah, well, for a corp dev executive who's looking for acquisitions is sort of similar use case, right? And it looks like the pricing on your website, it says the standard price, which gives you up to 100 requests per user. It's basically $98 per month per seat. So $100 per user seat, $1,200 US per year. And if you want to have unlimited research requests, then it's $300 per month per user. So for so I can see, a corp dev executive or a consultant who's doing a lot of work with sort of smaller companies, small privately, if you're doing a lot of due diligence, then that would be an expense that someone could justify.
Exactly.
All right. And you have a free 7-day trial as well.
Yeah. So we're so confident in the product that everyone can join just like for free. You can test it. We're doing a product-led approach. So basically letting the product speak. We don't need sales meetings. You go there, you test it out. And if you like it, you can buy it. That's it. All right. Simple as that.
That's cool. So we will include the link to, obviously, that I mentioned before, Eill.ai, EILL.ai in the show notes. And Nikola, if you'd be willing to kind of go back and look at the different screens that we looked at, and just maybe if you could take screenshots of the actual ones that you and I looked at and shoot them over to me, we'll include that not necessarily in the show notes, listeners, that you'll have on iTunes or Spotify, but we'll put it on the Umbrex website and we'll include that link to this episode, so that if you wanted to go and see what I was looking at, you'll be able to do that, and we'll have that link in the show notes. Nikola, this looks like a super useful tool that you've built, and
Thank you so much.
listeners, if this seems relevant, do check it out. I mean, they have a 7-day free trial, so go check out the product. Nikola, thanks so much for joining today.
Thank you so much for having me, Bill.